Hello, my dear friends. This is Rabbi Aharon Dobinsky coming to you today from the holy city of Yerushalayim, in the beautiful state of Israel. Tonight is the first light of Hanukkah. Hanukkah, a time of Nisim v'Niflaot, miracles and wonders. So, in that vein, I have a good question for you. Let's see what you can do for an answer. My question is, how many does it take? Maybe I should say it slower. How many does it take? How many what? That's a very good question. How many what does it take? All right, answer to the question. People. How many people does it take? I don't hear any answers. I think we're getting closer to it, but you need another question before I can give you an answer to which you can give me another answer. So let's see. What do you want to know? How many people does it take to bring Mashiach? There's a good question, huh? Because we all know it's imminent. We all know it was every day when we say the 13 attributes, one of the things we say that we believe with complete certainty that Mashiach is coming. And even though he might be delayed, we believe with a perfect belief he's coming. And if you lived here in Israel and you heard what the Rabbi say, and you knew what the situation was, and you looked at the situation throughout the entire world, you would also know that the time is not that far away. So the question is, how many people does it take to bring Mashiach? Well, let's take a look at things that we know about, which will give us a perspective. Now, during the 30s, there was somebody whose name I will not mention, Yamach Shemam, who took over Germany, most of Europe, began moving towards Asia. All right, so he had a group that backed him. This group was called Nazis, Yamach Shemam. Now, how many of the people of Germany, his country, how many of these people were that way? Belong to that party, espouse that belief, anything that has to do with going along with what they were doing. How many? Well, statistics tell us that it was roughly 5%. 5%. That means 95% did not go along, did not support, did not necessarily participate, at least not in the beginning, and that's where it came from. So all this happened with just 5% of the people. So in this case, 5% was all it took. Now, let's go to something more prevalent, more important for this holiday of Hanukkah that we have. How many of the Jews, now understand that the Jews have been occupied by the Greek Syrians, but how many of them went along with Yehuda Maccabee, the Hasmonaim, the high priests who were against the Syrian Greeks? How many? Again, about 5%. That's it. That means 95% were pretty much into the Greek-Syrian idea of worshiping your body, getting it in the shape you wanted to be, and taking care of it because that was everything for them. But 5% said no. That is not what Hashem asks of us. That is not what we are supposed to do, and we will not tolerate this. And they rebelled under the hand of Yehuda Maccabee. Judah, the hammer. Maccabee is hammer. So Yehuda Maccabee started a rebellion with his 4 brothers, and which his father was the main leader of, but he was the man who was out there in the field actually leading the army, such as it was. And again, not much of an army. They had to be very, very careful in how they fought. They didn't have that many people. So what they did, they didn't have any weapons, because it would have been illegal to have weapons. They could have been killed for that. So what did they have to do? They had to kill one soldier, take his weapon. Now they had a weapon. And kill more soldiers, take more weapons, kill more soldiers, take more weapons. This was the beginning, as far as we know, of guerrilla warfare. The idea of a few attacking a very, very large army, and they were quite successful at it. And they did repel the Syrian Greeks, and they did rededicate the temple, which is the story of Hanukkah. So how many does it take? Well, in this case, it took 5% roughly But let's go a little bit further beyond that. There was a very instrumental person in this rebellion. Her name was Yehudis. Yehudis was a daughter of the Hasmonean dynasty. She was the daughter of the high priest, and she decided she needed to do something because she was in a city that was being starved out. They decided they couldn't take them over, so they thought, we'll starve the Jews out. So she had to think of something to do, and she thought of something to do. And here's what she did. She snuck out, with the approval of the leader of the town, of course, with her maid, and went directly to the tent of the general who was in charge of this, General Holofernes. He was in charge, and he decided, not worth wasting a lot of manpower and getting killed. Let's just starve them out. There's no water there. It's not raining. It doesn't look like it's going to rain. So water will do it. How long can they hold out with their kosher food? Not very long with nothing coming in. So something had to be done, something desperate. Yehudis did it. She went directly to the general, directly to his tent, said, you know what? I'm over this thing. I'm tired of this. I like to eat. I like to drink. I am not going to sit there while I starve to death. So I'm here, and I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys. Well, she was, and she was with them guys. And what she brought with her when she came is she brought some delicacies. She brought some wonderful cheeses, breads, wines, all the things she knew that could tempt somebody who was in love with their body, which is what the Greek Syrians were. That was their worship, was the worship of their body. So she brought all these things, and she got close to him. And he basically made it so that nobody could touch her, because actually, after she was a Jew, and being a Jew, any one of the soldiers there could pretty much do what they wanted with her. She was beautiful. So he told them they were not to touch her, they were not to touch her maid. They had a free run of the camp. And after a couple of days, she'd go back and forth to the city to let them know the progress she was making. Basically, nothing has happened yet, but give me a little time and I'll take care of this. So as time went by, she needed 5 days, because the leader of the city had told the people that he would give Hashem 5 days to come up with a solution to save them. The solution? Well, the solution was Yehudis. So Yehudis, one night, had a meal with her. She came into the general's tent. It was all set for a lavish meal, and she fed him the bread. She fed him the cheese, and she fed him the wine until he couldn't drink anymore. Are you seeing a plan start to develop? And then he laid down, and she rolled him over so he'd be very nice and comfortable. And when he was rolled over and nice and comfortable, she took his sword and she cut off his head. And she took the head and she snuck out, and she got to the city and she showed it to the head of the city. And he says, this is great. He says, they're not prepared for an attack, right? But when they find out he's dead, they're going to go in fear. They're going to run away in fear. She said, that's my intention, that they will do that. And that's exactly what they did. They realized their general had been killed. As superstitious as they were, they fled. They figured it was not with their gods that they were to win this war, so they took off. Just took the head, held it out. They saw the dead head, and they moved, and they ran away, and the city was saved. How many does it take? Well, in this case, it took just one. Now, every time I tell you the numbers, just 1 or just 5%, remember there's always another one above who is with them, who is guiding them and making sure that they can do what they need to do. Well, in this case, it just took the one to win this battle. And as you know, at the end of the day, at the end of the war, the Jews won. The Syrian Greeks, the most powerful army on the face of the earth, went back to where they came from, and Jews took back over. They rededicated the temple. After the next over 200 years, they were able to worship there. Happy ending to the story, huh? So let me ask you, in your life, how many does it take? And in bringing Mashiach, how many does it take? The answer is, it may only be 5%. It may only be one. And that one Maybe you, or you, or you, or any one of us. The truth is, we don't know how many it will take. We don't know. But we know from history that it could take a small amount. It could take just one. So let's all try to be that one and bring us closer to the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu in the third Beit HaMikdash. B'mheira b'yomeinu Shavuot Tov, Chanukah Sameach, Afreilike Chanukah. May this week bring you joy, nisim v'niflaot, miracles and wonders like you've never seen before, and the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu and the building of the third Beit HaMikdash. B'mheira b'yomeinu. Amen. Goodbye, my friends. Be well. Have a great week. Have a great Hanukkah. And remember, you could be the one.